session. Judges, please give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Senators, I fervently support this bill to reduce food wastage. I support this legislation for three main reasons. First of all, to help stores cut down wastage of their own food. Second, to provide more food for food insecure households in America. And third of all, to replace the voluntary federal guidelines for food wastage for touch. First of all, we all know that stores tend to waste a lot of food. Whenever they see a food that's not aesthetically pleasing, like if a banana has way too many spots or if there's a dent in a cereal box, they tend to throw it out. According to BusinessInsider.com, they visited a bunch of local grocery stores like Trader Joe's, and they found that many perfectly edible foods that just didn't look great were thrown in the dumpster. 40% of the food produced in the United States is wasted. And this wasted food contributes to climate change because when the foods accumulate in dumps, they release methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas much more potent than than carbon dioxide. Organizations like Feeding America, Food Finders, and City Harvest are trying to encourage companies to keep food, even if it's not aesthetically pleasing, but it's not enough. That's why we need this bill, to decrease unnecessary disposal of food. Next, Senator Pranav said that efforts are being made by grocery stores to reduce the waste. But yet, you said in the same speech that that 10% of the food is being wasted. And if we turn this into common terms, we can see that hundreds of tons of food is being wasted overall, and 10% of that is still a lot of food. In fact, that amount of food every year would fill up four Sears towers. Next, 14% of American households are food insecure. 1 in 4 children in the United States does not have access to a constant source of nutritional food, according to WorldHunger.com. This bill can ameliorate the problem of food insecurity by venting more food towards food banks. In a few decades, there will be 10 billion people who inhabit Earth. We need to fix food wastage while we can. Finally, new federal guidelines are voluntary. According to CMSmonitor.com, the federal guidelines created to set food wastage are optional, leaving many companies to effectively disregard it. Senators, I advocate for this passage. I advocate for the passage of this bill to reduce wasting food for the aforementioned reasons. Thank you, and I'm now open to questions.
Okay, that's a speech of 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Questions? I've never seen such a bad performance. Guys, you should be asking questions. Senator, don't you think it's a better idea to target the consumers because 40% of the wastage comes from consumers, only 10% from retailers?
I definitely agree that it is a good idea to target consumers. However, this bill will also serve the purpose of reducing wastage of food, because we need to reduce the wastage wherever we can.
But won't it still be ineffective because retailers only account for about 10% of the food wastage?
Like I said in my answer to Mr. Kabor, 10% is still many hundreds of tons of food every year. So I believe that it would still be, if you just look at it numerically, it'll still be quite effective in my opinion. But I do agree that additional efforts need to be put into action to reduce the wastage on the consumer's part.
This bill includes how all discarded food must be inspected, but since there are so many grocery stores, doesn't that mean that some foods will not be properly inspected and may be spoiled?
I didn't quite understand your question. Could you repeat?
This bill includes how all discarded food must be inspected, but since there are so many grocery stores, doesn't it mean that some food might not be properly inspected and may be spoiled?
If I understand your question, you're saying that there won't be enough manpower on the governor's part to check all the foods, right?
Yes.
Well, I believe that is a problem, but however, I think we should start in certain places, like how I mentioned that Trader Joe's is. So I think we should start with certain companies that we know are clear violators of this law, and then after that we should work our way up. I don't think it should be an instant process because that would be too taxing on our manpower.
All right, thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay, last debater is Fahad Kareem.
I'm Senator Kareem speaking for the first time